gonna jump right into it, man. I've been receiving some phone calls from different people early this morning, and everybody telling me about the way Michelle Obama was disrespected at the president's birthday. So here's the way I look at it. For one, I don't trust anybody in the government. Rather, Democrat or Republican, I just like to say, for one, fuck them both. Now that I got the political aspect out the way, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I've never voted, nor do I care to, because I know it's two wings to the same bird. But just knowing that I do live in this world that has a system and a lot of people are into it, this is the reason why I'm going to speak on it. For a very long time, I remember reading a long time ago about how the Cracker Barrel thing started. I don't know if it's a restaurant I'm familiar with, but what would happen was melanated people weren't allowed to laugh in the presence of white folks. That's how they had it. We was walking on eggshells. So of course, when we found something was funny, we would have to, our laugh, we would have to go put our head in a barrel, in a wheelbarrow, because we weren't allowed to think anything was funny. So speaking on that, just here's to say, I know the reason why I know the motive was racist is because, for one, Michelle Obama was first lady maybe 10 years ago. So with the history, and if y'all, I want y'all to take a close look to all the president's wives that have always been, all of them. And that's how you know it's biased, because I mean, you gonna reach back 10 years. Why not reach back 20 years to Barbara Bush, or even before that? Let's review all of the president's wives before we just do that, because that's how you know it's rooted in slavery mind states, plantation psychosis. Those who still suffer from that, man. But the disrespect is obvious, because what they do is they feel inferior to the fact that there was somebody that high in office that's educated. I forgot what was it, Harvard or one of the ones, but whatever it is, it's high level education. So because of the inferiority, people tend to try to assassinate different aspects to kind of hide their racism, which is clear. So Josh Hackett, that's typical, man. We already know the nature of the beast, and therefore, like Yeshua said, you know them by their fruits. So therefore, we need to stop looking and seeing if racism still exists, because it's still clear. And they show you by their fruits with the character assassination. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Like I told you when it first started, I don't trust anybody in the government, because they all work for the same puppet master. And I believe, it's a demonic regime. But I also understand ulterior motives, and I know from a collective standpoint, the motive at his presidency, birthday party or whatever, all of that was orchestrated in order for them to assassinate a woman, a melanated woman in high office. And I know that that's what it is, because you got a lot of them to reach on. Because if anybody look like a man, it's going to be Barbara Bush and all of the rest of them. I haven't seen one. I mean, the current first lady look, so if we're going to go down that realm, let's take it all the way. So that's how you know it's rooted in slavery. And they was doing that on purpose, because Trump has always been intimidated because Barack Obama was in office and he was a melanated man. Now, I'm going to be honest too on this, because one thing, I don't really talk to please anybody specifically. I just tell what I feel is the truth. And my truth, I didn't like it when Barack Obama said that he feels like every young black man should have a homosexual role model. I believe that was just as damaging as anything as well. But on the other hand, I already know that their motive to assassinate Michelle Obama's character is because that's what they do. They want to, kind of destroy the image of our greatness as people. And then what I also don't like is that it's always, one-sided. People can get away with this and that, but it's wrong when it happens to somebody Caucasian. So I'm not gonna ever ride with that. And no matter how I feel, because I'm not down with homosexuality or transgenderism. I'm not with any of that. Just as much as I hate white supremacy, but I'm never going to ride with white supremacy against my people, which are melanated people. No matter what. And I'm going to stand on that. Now, I am not racist. But, my mother is melanated, and my father. And some of the people in his family are also melanated. So, therefore, I'm going to look at it this way. If I see unfairness, I'm always going to ride with the righteous. You know what I'm saying? So, rather you're melanated or Caucasian, if you wrong, you wrong. But they are wrong for trying to attack Michelle Obama. And anybody that can't see that is just probably just, they cooning out. You know what I'm saying? Because you already know their motive. They sometimes hide their little racial slurs and try to make it on the surface of something else. And the only reason I'm really speaking on it because a woman in one of my comments was trying to say, that I'm racist or whatever, and I don't see it. Yeah, I already know that the CIA and all of the psyops and all that's involved with it. So I usually don't even care. But I also recognize motives in the collective, television programming that takes place. And that was definitely a racial attack on melanated excellence. So anybody that disagree with that, I don't care. I'm not getting paid from any of this. I do this from the heart. And if I'm going to do something, I'm going to come from a standpoint of understanding. And my understanding is that there's been trannies or transsexuals or transgender in high office for years, as well as Hollywood. Most of the people in Hollywood's children are transgender. And I see that there's a motive behind it. But what we're not going to do, as far as on my watch or on my post, is we're not going to single out one person and then act like everybody else is okay. You know what I'm saying? Because, for one, how are we going to even expose something like that and they ain't exposed in files? You know what I'm saying? People worried about that, but look at all the shit that they done swept under the rug with them files before we start trying to go attack somebody because y'all was intimidated for their position in the so-called presidency. So yeah, all of them is wicked. And I don't really rock with none.